You're welcome to another journey on sheep and goat farming, and I welcome you to a farm which specializes in sheep and goat farming. And you can, when you look at my left and right side, you can see the construction of the pen. So today we are going to have an interview with a sheep and goat expert, the animal scientist and a ruminant nutrition specialist. Can we meet you?
All right, my name is Oyedo Samuel today, an animal scientist and a ruminant animal nutrition specialist.
Right. What can you say about sheep and goat farming? And how profitable it is?
Sheep and goat farming is very profitable because it's a business that you don't need to think too much about feeding. You all know in livestock production, feeding takes about 80% of the cost of production. But when you have a sheep and goat, they can feed on grasses, solely on grasses. You know, we have grasses that give energy, we have grasses that give protein, we have legumes that give protein. So when you go into sheep and goat, you think less of feeding, and they have they can give birth to a lot of kids at a particular period of time without any stress or extra cost. So when you go into sheep and goat farming, you think less of feeding. I think with that, sheep and goat farming is a good business to venture into.
What are the diseases associated with raising of this sheep and goat?
When we talk about sheep and goat, we have viral disease, we have bacterial disease, we have disease that comes with when you don't manage the flock very well. So when we talk about viral disease, we have foot and mouth disease, which can affect them in their mouth and in their foot, which may not allow them to eat very well. We have anthrax. Anthrax is a deadly disease when it comes to ruminant animal production. It affects the growth in such a way it causes bleeding. You see blood coming through their nose and in their anus, all the openings. We also have tetanus. Tetanus is when they have wound and it is not being treated on time. So this tetanus is so deadly that they will not able to walk, and it may cause the death of the sheep and goat. So sheep and goat is very easy to manage. Once you know the disease that affect them, you have to take proactive steps in managing them. So I think those are the few diseases that affect ruminant animal, and once you know about those diseases, it is very to prevent than to cure.
Okay, as a scientist or as a professional, what is your take on sheep and goat farming? Will you encourage people to do the business, and how does the income revenue work?
Okay, so as an animal scientist and a forest scientist, I will advise people who are looking for a profitable livestock to venture into sheep and goat farming. Number one is either you go into breeding or you go into fattening. When you go into breeding, imagine when you have like 10 male and you synchronize all of them in such a way that all of them give birth at or paturate at a particular period of time, and you're having 10 to 15 kids at a time. You can sell those kids to those that want to start their sheep and goat farming. Or if you go into if you're a farmer looking, if you're an entrepreneur looking into fattening, you can sell your female and feed your male very well. Once they get big, you sell them for people that slaughter goats for sales, and people that want to do naming, people that want to do wedding and all sorts of occasions. Sheep and goat farming is a farming whereby you spend less on feeding. Like I said earlier, is you don't think more of what would this goat eat, when you have grasses and legumes around your farm that they can feed on. You can even plant these grasses and legumes for them to consume. So if you are looking at starting a livestock farming, I will tell you that sheep and goat farming is safe, and once you can manage it very well, it is very profitable. They are highly demanded. People do wedding, people do naming, people eat goat and meat every day. Some people even prefer the red meat than white meat goat. So sheep and goat farming is very lucrative, and is very cool. It's very cool to venture into as a beginner or as a startup in livestock industry.
What is the best housing system for sheep and goat, and what is the best feeding system for these ruminant animals?
Okay, when we talk about best housing system, I will encourage every sheep and goat keeper or anybody that wants to venture into sheep and goats to consider a semi-intensive system of rearing ruminants, whereby you can keep them in the house. and probably in the morning you can take them out to come and feed on grasses. Those ruminant animals, they love to exhibit their natural characteristics, whereby they move on the field to eat and to drink. So when you want to keep your sheep and goats, I will advise you to keep it in a semi-intensive system, whereby you give them compounded feed as at when due, and you can move them out into pasture to graze. So by this, they'll be able to give you maximum productivity. Yeah. So and when we talk about feeding system, you can give them, they can feed solely on grasses and legumes, whereby it gives them a balanced ration. And if you are this one that you can compound a feed, you can give them a formulated feed, especially when you are going to fattening. So we have grasses like bracharia, we have legumes like alfalfa that you can give to your goat, that will give them the maximum productivity that you are looking for.
All right, the last question, what is your advice for people who are planning to venture into goat farming?
Okay, one thing I will advise you is that, number one, knowledge. Have the knowledge about sheep and goat, understand the disease that you might want to encounter on feed. Then after having the knowledge and having the knowledge, after having the knowledge of the disease and the management practice, how much do you have? The money you have at hand will determine whether maybe you are going for exotic goat or exotic breed of goat, or indigenous breed of goat. But I must tell you, if you have money for indigenous breed of goat, look for the best breed of goat. You have Wat, you have Red Sokoto. Just look for a breed of goat that can adapt to your environment. You know, when you are starting, you can't bring an exotic goat into the southwest and keep them in the sun. You might lose all the goats. So when you are starting as a new beginner, look for a breed of goat that can be acclimatized to your environment, and put a feeding management in place. Before you start your sheep and goat farming, I will advise you to have a pasture land on ground, like, so that you will always think less of feeding. So once you have a pasture land, when you plant grasses and legumes, it will be easy for you to buy the goats and feed them. And when you want to construct your sheep and goat housing, let it be standard in a way for you to manage it. Like, you can see this sheep and goat, you can pack their litters on the floor, and you can do all the management practice in the goat pen. So when you are going to a sheep and goat farm, I will advise you to learn first, know about diseases that affect sheep and goat, buy breeds that can easily adapted to your environment, and construct the house in such a way that it will be easy for you to manage, so as to prevent any sort of diseases that might want to cause havoc in your farm.
Thank you so much for your time. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification button. Thank you.